Hey guys, it's Trig. We're going to be coming back at you with another video on a little bit of gaming tech. Just as a little bit about me before we start this series, I am a content creator on Twitch, link down below, and I am a PlayStation enthusiast. I've had the PS1 through the PS4, and I'm very, very excited for the PS5 to be coming out. And that's kind of why we're doing these strand of videos, is to get talking about new tech that is coming out that is just absolutely mind-blowing. And I brought a special guest who knows a heck of a lot more about technology than myself, and he's kind of been the backbone of the tech for the Discord, the firing squad. And so I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hi everyone, my name is Bob. You guys might know me as Zalaveris in the Discord, and I just want to start by saying that I've been a PC enthusiast specifically for 20 years, since 2000 when I was in junior high, playing games my whole life, and I got a lot of really cool information about the PlayStation 5. And before I get into it, I want to specify I've never purchased a PlayStation of any kind with my own money. So I've always been a part of the PC master race, quote, joking, right? I just love great tech. I love cool gaming tech, and I don't care which console or PC has it. So I just want to get that out of the way.
So you're not biased in any way. You're totally just talking about some good tech today.
I'm a little biased. I'm a little salty about what's happening, but it's exciting either way.
It's going to drive the PC community, that's for sure here. So a question I was asked earlier, Bobby, was there are two different types of editions coming out for the PS5. There is the disk drive edition, and then there's the digital edition. What should consumers be thinking when they are analyzing what product they should think about purchasing?
Well, when I first saw the two different consoles, I thought to myself, selling a digital version is a it's a great ploy to get people to not buy used games anymore, right? Because you have to get everything you want to play from the PlayStation Store. So, I think the idea is that you get the optical drive for older games, backwards compatible or Blu-ray movies and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this isn't something that I've heard confirmed, so I'm not entirely sure, but I don't think many of the new next gen PlayStation exclusive games are going to be read from a disc anyway
Correct.
because of their SSD architecture. I don't think it would work very well with a disc. So I don't think you're going to have to worry about next gen stuff. I think that optical drive is primarily for movies and older games. I imagine. So
Right.
that's
Yeah, and
just my
that's
first thought.
that's one of the things that I was going to kind of talk about is being an owner of the PS1 through the PS4. I have a lot of games just sitting on my collection. They're kind of collecting dust, but they're fun to look at on the shelf. And then being that the PS5 will be the one of the first systems for Sony that is backwards compatible. I think that the certain versions of the PS3 was backwards compatible as well. But being that the PS5 is backwards compatible again, that disk drive, really the only use that thing's going to get is the PS4 games, the PS3 games, and going backwards, or your Blu-ray DVDs or whatnot. So, but you were talking something about the architecture of Sony's, I guess, system, their storage and whatnot. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so one of the big key selling points going forward for next gen consoles is going to be the solid state drive implementation. I know a lot of people hear solid state drive and they think, well, I can put an SSD on my PS4 or my gaming computer has a solid state drive. So what's the difference? We've had this stuff for years. Why is it different now? And the reason it's different now is because they've built an architecture around this solid state drive, right? So they're going to be able to load in um, data and they're going to have it ready for the GPU to render before it's even needed, right? So they're going to be able to pull off storage um, way better than anything has historically. And I'm not talking about loading times either. I'm talking about view distance. where everything's
Sure.
loaded in already and the
Sure.
GPU's already rendered it. So you can see extreme distances, unlike now where you may see blurry images and then as you get closer, they kind of pop into view.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, this is supposed to help eliminate that. So it's going to be a huge increase in game experience.
Okay. So, talking about that type of special architecture, do you think that Microsoft is coming out with some sort of similar architecture for their next gen console as well? Because you've kind of already stated that PCs don't have anything like this. PCs don't have anything, this is going to outperform what we have as a PC right now. So, do you think that Xbox with their 12 teraflop GPU, like yes, their hardware is technically better, but are they going to have anything like this? What you're talking about that would be able to compete with the PS5?
Yeah, they will. They're going to have their own special SSD architecture. Their SSD is going to be technically slower on paper. We don't know what the Xbox actually has for their. I mean, it's called BC Pack for their SSD. I guess compression. I think is
Okay.
what they're using. I'm not an engineer, so please don't quote me on that one. But they will have their own special architecture that's designed around this super fast SSD. Historically, we've always seen consoles being the lowest common denominator, and you'll hear PC gamers, myself included, who were frustrated that the games were suffering because they had to be developed around underpowered consoles.
Correct.
And for the first time in gaming history, it may be the computer that is holding back consoles from their full experience, which is
So
wild to think about.
yeah,
But
so
yeah, Xbox
essentially
is one of
that
those.
whole PC master race thing, they're gonna have to make a change in order to get back on top here. But being the lowest common denominator is not going to be consoles anymore because the special architecture that's coming out.
Yeah,
So I know that a new series of graphics cards, the 30 series for Nvidia, and then the AMD series that they're launching as well, that is coming out in September from a couple of things that have been rumored. Is there any possibility that they're launching the GPU prior to consoles? These $1,000, $2,000 GPUs, trying to push them out before a $500, $600 PS5 essentially sweeps the market because these things are going to be half the price and be overperforming.
yeah. I mean, again, I'm not a market analyst, so I don't know, but it's an interesting question to pose because the the history of buying a PC was if you wanted the best gaming performance, period, you dump as much money as you can into this computer and you kill all the games and the console peasants, right, or whatever. Um, they're gonna suffer with their 1080p at 30 frames per second. But now we're looking at consoles that are going to have the RDNA 2 architecture GPUs from AMD, Zen 2 processor, and everything, and they're going to be putting out some serious performance. So why would anybody feel comfortable going out and spending $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 on a new graphics card that may be coming out when a $500 system is going to perform better in games because of some proprietary SSD architecture? Like it it's going to make anybody who spends a lot of money on their computer feel really bad because it's just not going to be able to do what the PS5 is going to do or the Xbox is going to do. Just next gen consoles in general, it's not going to do it. Like for example,
Okay.
if you watch the Ratchet and Clank PS5 reveal and that trailer,
Okay. I'll link that below. I'll link that below.
it really shows off that SSD architecture very well. Specifically, there's a scene where he's jumping through portals and changing worlds. None of that needs, it doesn't need a loading screen. There's no
Yeah,
sort of
good.
there's no sort of elevator ride that you take so they can sneakily render it in the background
Man.
while because those elevator rides are just a load screen, right? That's the thing.
You're right.
It's a moving load screen. There's no long corridor you have to walk down so they can render that or load it in the background. It happens instantly. Instantly. He's jumping through worlds and the whole scene changes and the view distance is insane. It's a whole horizon. And it loads instantly. All of those artifacts and all those little pieces just come in
That's
and they're
crazy.
right in your face right away. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it because it shows off that tech in an awesome way.
It shows off the power of a $500 PS5, man.
And I mean, it's putting out technology that's going to make computers look really dumb because they can't do it in the same way.
So do you think that this technology is going to benefit all games, this SSD technology? Is this going to benefit all games, or is this only going to be found in specific games?
I think it's going to be limited to exclusives. If we look at game design historically, they've always designed games, like I said earlier, around the lowest common denominator, which previously has been consoles. So
Okay.
it kind of held back PC gaming. But now that the next gen consoles are going to have this storage technology that PCs can't have, what that's going to do is it means they're going to make multi-platform games that have to be able to run on a PC. So I think you're going to see the PC start to hold back the PS5 and the Xbox games
That's
because they need
interesting.
to be made. It's a sad world
Right.
that we're going to live in, and I'm really salty about it. But I think you're only going to see that tech really utilized in exclusives like Ratchet and Clank,
Sure.
new God of War.
Hmm.
Same on Xbox side. If they have some proprietary system, you're probably only going to see it in Gears of War. It's trickier on Xbox though because a lot of their stuff shares between Xbox and PC because
Right.
it's all Windows based.
Right.
I don't know how they're going to work around that, but
Well, and
as
that's
far as
really sad too, because like games like Call of Duty and Rocket League and these major esports companies, they were actually really starting to get into cross-play capabilities. And so now that consoles are not going to be able to use that new technology because PCs are going to hold them back, I wonder if they're going to kind of steer back into that realm of non-cross-play feature. I don't know. Just something.
and it's not even necessarily about crossplay. It's just about multi-platform. If they
Okay.
make a game for multiple platforms, they have to make sure it runs on all of the platforms.
Correct.
So they can't design a game specifically around using that SSD tech and then have it not run on a
Right.
PC. So it's probably going to be limited to just the exclusives. I think. I
Yeah.
don't know if they're going to specifically modify every single game to have two different versions. I doubt that. I don't
That
think
would
that'll
be a
happen.
lot of work on the game developers end,
Yeah, I
especially game
don't think they'll do
developers
that.
that are pushing things out annually.
Yeah, I don't think they'll do that.
All right, well, this video is starting to get a little bit longer, so we should probably start to wrap things up here.
Yeah, we can actually end this with an interesting quote
Okay.
from Tim Sweeney.
Okay.
And from anybody who doesn't know who that is the CEO of Epic Games.
Okay.
And the reason that's important is because a huge portion of the Epic market now is from their Epic store, which is on PC. So
Correct.
this comes from somebody who doesn't have a bias with Sony and isn't a PC hater because a lot of the customers are PC players.
Okay.
So I kind of took this as a very honest opinion from
Okay.
the industry. So he says, let's see, he says, the storage architecture on the PS5 is far ahead of anything you can buy on anything on PC for any amount of money right now. It's going to help drive future PCs. The PC market is going to see this thing ship and say, oh, wow, SSDs are going to need to catch up with this. Which
Anything that you can buy for any amount of money, $500 in the PS5.
Yeah,
We don't know that it is $500, but it traditionally has floated that price range. So
it's not going to be as expensive. You can get a $2,000 SSD that's faster, but it doesn't have the architecture.
right,
So it's still
interesting.
going to be bottlenecked by the rest of the computer. So
All right. Well, I thank you again, man, for coming on today. That was actually a really good time. Learned a lot about the PS5, and I think that a lot of people here are going to find a lot of good information out of this video, man. So thank you, Bob, again for everything today.
you're welcome. And I want to say, don't be a fanboy. Just love great tech.
Cheers to that, man. Cheers to that.